Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So, my absolutely most requested video over the last week has been, can I do a predictions video for the Copa América, this time taking place historically in the United States of America? Yes, I can do that for you, do not worry. In fact, I have done one, I did it about a month ago, I think it was, on my Spanish ASMR channel. So if you want to check out this video in Spanish, then look for that. But today I'm going to do it in English, obviously, and we're going to look at the Copa America, which starts, the kickoff is on the Friday the 21st of June, so a week later than the Euro starts this year. Now, for those of you that don't know, I, in university, used to watch the Copa America religiously. It happened I think at that time it was happening every 2 years, and I think even now it still happens about every 3 years. So it takes place more often than the Euros. And yeah, because my degree is in Hispanic studies, I was studying Spanish and Portuguese. I used to watch the Copa America every year, having an interest in both football and Spanish and Portuguese speaking countries. I won't be watching it this year. As you can see, the times for me over here in Wales: 1 o'clock in the morning kickoff, 1 o'clock, 11, 2 o'clock for Mexico. I really wanted to watch Mexico this year, but on a Sunday night as well, so Monday morning, watching Mexico. Unfortunately, I think I'll not be able to do that. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about each of the teams. I'm going to decide where they finish in the group, and then we're going to work out who gets what place, and I'm going to tell you at the end who I think is going to be the winner. Stick around, because I've changed my mind. If you watched this in Spanish already, I've changed my mind. So I was looking at the form guide of all the teams, and yeah, I think I've chosen a new winner. So stick around to the end to find out who that is, okay? Okay, so this year the format is 4 groups of 4. And because it's in the USA, I think is it the 50th edition? And it's a special version that they're doing in the USA. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 4 groups of 4, and we've invited several teams from the CONCACAF region, namely Costa Rica, Panama, obviously the USA, Jamaica and Mexico, and lastly Canada. So all 3 of the teams hosting the World Cup in 2026 are in this, as well as a couple of extras. So let's find out what I think is going to happen, shall we? I'll be looking at the form guide of everyone, which hugely is based on the World Cup qualifiers. So if we look, for example, at Chile's, not great. They did beat Peru recently in a World Cup qualifier, though. Chile are down in 8th position. Remember, there are more spaces for the South American CONMEBOL teams in the next World Cup. 6 guaranteed and 1 playoff spot. And at the minute, Brazil is not doing too well. They've lost 3 of their opening 6 matches and drawn 1, so they've only got 2 wins. Chile are on joint points, but lower on goal difference to Paraguay, so currently wouldn't qualify in this new format. But Peru, surprisingly, are bottom of all of them. So what does that mean? Well, I think 2 of the 3 weakest teams from South America on form are in this group at the second, which is why, obviously, I think Argentina are going to do well in this tournament. But I actually, do you know what, guys? I think Canada can finish second. I think in terms of what they're capable of and the team that they have, they've got, an okay run going on at the second. Haven't lost too many times, mostly against the US. And that's the World Cup. So it'll be really interesting. It'll be a good test to see what they're like in a tournament again. I watched each of their matches in the World Cup, all 3 of them, and I have to say in all cases I thought they were very unlucky. I thought that they could and should have at least drawn with Belgium, if not beaten them. The Croatian one was an outlier completely. They performed really well at the beginning of the match, and the same with Morocco. So yeah, if they can do it for 90 minutes, then I think they'll do well. So I think I'm going to say Argentina top, Canada second, Chile third, and Peru fourth. So it's going to be in alphabetical order. And And it seems, yeah, no third best three. So in the UEFA, what I'm trying to get at, and some of the teams that finish in third are going to get through as well, but that's not going to be the case. It's just the top two, so I think Argentina and Canada will get through. Okay, this is probably one of the hardest groups to think about because Mexico classically would just walk any group stage they have been in and then lose in the first qualifier, in the first knockout round. This last World Cup that they went in was the first time they've never, first time ever that they haven't got out to the group stage, and they're not in great form, I have to say, and they don't have the best squads in the second. So their wins have been in the CONCACAF region. Even then, though, they've lost to Honduras. Germany, when Germany were playing terrible, they beat Ghana in a friendly, drew with Uzbekistan and Australia. So, you know, their form is like okay, but not fantastic. I think they won the CONCACAF Gold Cup though, but yeah, so I think I'm a little bit worried because the two teams that they've got in their group are both doing really well. We're going to look at Venezuela briefly because Venezuela, I said in my video last week about the preview to the FIFA World Cup, Venezuela have never made it to a World Cup. They're the only side in the CONMEBOL South America region, but they are looking good to qualify the second because they are fourth. They are actually 2 places above Brazil and 2 points above Brazil. They've got a really good squad, some very good football players playing in Brazil and in Europe, and I actually believe that they will qualify, so that's them. And then just below them in the table, look, is Ecuador, who I think were very unlucky not to get out of the group in the World Cup. I thought up until the last moments that they were going to get ahead of Senegal in that group. I was really impressed by them, so those 2 teams are really decent. I think, I'm going to actually say it, I don't think Mexico's going to get out of this group, guys. I'm really sorry. And I always support Mexico at every World Cup and every Copa America, but I'm not impressed with their form. They seem to have a little bit of a lack of world-class players for the second. Maybe there's something wrong with the coaching. They're lacking, well, it depends on their striker. So at the minute, he's down, Santiago Jimenez is down as injured. So I'm not sure. If he's fit, then my opinion changes because he is world-class. And I think a lot of these players are local-based ones, although Edson Alvarez is there, so maybe not. Yeah, I just think at the second they're lacking some absolutely outstanding players, like they've had in the past. Mind you, Chucky wasn't in that list of players, so hopefully I don't know if he's injured, why he's in there. So we'll see who gets called up. But at the minute, I'm going to say Ecuador top, because they've got more experience in tournaments. Venezuela second, Mexico third, and a very plucky Jamaica who maybe grabs a point here or there, coming in last. But they themselves should not be taken lightly, and I can see them potentially getting to the next World Cup with the increase in places. Don't forget, of course, they've got players from the English leagues. Michail Antonio was declared. Jamal Lowe of my team, Swansea City. Demarai Gray, who's fantastic. And that's not even including Bobby Reed's there. Apparently only 3 midfielders. Yeah, the Aston Villa player isn't even in that list. Jamal Nicholson is very good. Yeah, so I think that I'm not saying that they're going to lose every game. I think it's going to be a very equal group. I think maybe Ecuador will get through in top with 4 points or something, and then Venezuela maybe with 4 or 3 themselves, and Jamaica and Mexico with 2 points each or something. I think it's going to be a close group. Okay, next up is Group C. I think this is one that's going to be pretty plain sailing for Uruguay. They are in some absolutely excellent form. We'll talk a little bit more about that later because when we get to the knockout stages, I'll explain my working out. And USA, obviously, the home tournament and one of the best teams in the, well, definitely in the CONCACAF region bowl. So in this tournament, I think that based on form, Panama would come third and Bolivia would actually come fourth. I think Panama's got a better chance of not coming last. But for me, even though USA are tournament hosts, I still think that Uruguay have got just a little bit more. They've got a little bit of something about them this time. Some really, really good world-class players playing, in Barcelona, Liverpool, etc. So they've got some fantastic players. Obviously Real Madrid as well, Valverde. And then Group D. Now, this one is going to knock your socks off. I got criticised in my video, and probably rightly so, because the video I'm referring to is the predictions I did for the Euros, and I went kind of plain sailing, very bland down the middle, just said, the top seeds are going to come top and France is going to win it. Blah. And they said, you, just like everyone else, you've just not predicted anything unusual, it's going to be very boring. And I'm going to say, actually more with confidence than trying to be contrary, I think Colombia are going to beat Brazil to the top of this group, and I have evidence to back up. Because not only are they well above them in the qualifiers, they actually beat them in those qualifiers. 2 goals from Luis Diaz of Liverpool. Martinelli of Arsenal, scored for Brazil. But yeah, Colombia are looking really good at the second. Look at this. I worked out that they haven't lost a game since World Cup qualifiers for the last World Cup in February of 2022. They've just won against everyone: Bolivia, Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, Guatemala, Mexico, Paraguay, drawn with the US and South Korea, Japan, Iraq, Germany. They beat in Germany by the looks of it. Where did it take place? Veltins Arena, Gelsenkirchen, yeah, Schalke. Where else? Uruguay they drew against. Brazil they beat. And then they beat Spain. It wasn't in Spain, I think it was in London, maybe. Yeah, in West Ham Stadium. And Romania as well. Where did that take place? It doesn't say. So they are in spectacular form at the second. And Brazil just aren't. So, yeah, I'm actually going to stick my neck out and say that Colombia are coming top of this group. So, normally, I would say that Costa Rica would probably be able to come third and Paraguay fourth, but actually Costa Rica's form is not good at the second. They did draw with Uruguay, which is very credible, and they lost to Argentina, but they lost to Panama twice with six goals conceded. They lost 4-1 to the UAE. They lost to Mexico. Drew with El Salvador. Lost to Panama again. They've not got a very good run against Panama. Ecuador, Guatemala. Yeah, these are some teams they really should be beating. So I think they're not in great form. And Paraguay are, like I said earlier on, in the qualification spots to qualify for the next World Cup. Therefore, I think that Paraguay will finish third. So that's Colombia first, Brazil second, Paraguay third, and Costa Rica down in fourth. So a quick catch up. I say Argentina and Canada. Then Ecuador, Venezuela. Sorry, Mexico. Then Uruguay, USA. And lastly, Colombia and Brazil. So let's look at the knockouts. So it's quite easy to work out because 1A takes on 2B, 1B takes on 2A, and then 1C, 2D, and 1D, 2C. So that means I'm predicting an Argentina, Venezuela, and a Canada, Ecuador. Which I think will be probably a close one, but I think Ecuador would just get through even if it's on penalties. So Argentina, Venezuela, I think Argentina to win, Venezuela to be plucky and maybe get a goal, scare them a little bit, but Argentina to go through. So I'm predicting Argentina and Ecuador through to the quarterfinals. And then I said Uruguay would finish top in that group. So, very tastily, Uruguay would therefore have to play Brazil if Brazil comes second in their group, and USA would be against Colombia. Now, this is where I guess that's way harder, in my opinion, than the draw up here. I actually would suggest that Uruguay can beat Brazil at the second. Let me prove it. See if I can... So they beat Brazil and Argentina in their last 5 matches. Okay, they are really in form. Only 15th in the world, but they are in some heck of form at the second. I know it's tournament football, so it probably won't happen, but I'm doing this based on form. So I think Uruguay are going to put Brazil out in the first knockout round. Similarly, I said Colombia are doing very, very well. I actually think they'll be too much for the USA at this point. Apologies, USA. And I think if it was most other teams, I think they'd be okay. But for me, I'm putting my horses behind Colombia, Uruguay, and to an extent Argentina. If USA were against most any other team, I'd say they'd get through. But I think this Colombia side are bang in form. So I say the USA go out, I'm afraid, and therefore Uruguay and Colombia, this side of the draw is way harder, are going to go into the, well, it is quarterfinals, it's going to go into the semi-final. So we have Argentina and Ecuador over here. For me, it's Argentina every day of the week. Argentina definitely one of the best sides in the world, still, obviously, world champions. Although for some reason they didn't call up Paulo Dybala to their squad, I'm very upset for him. And then over here, very tasty, Uruguay against Colombia. So I don't know why, because both those teams are very, very equal. But I think it's quite equal in terms of who could possibly do it, who could win in that situation. Have Uruguay played Colombia in the last couple of matches? They drew in a World Cup qualifier. That's unhelpful. Okay, it does suggest what I'm thinking, that the two sides are very, very equal. I'm going to go with Uruguay. They've had more World Cups, and I think that maybe they're a bit more savvy, unless they do that thing where they get a red card and then mess it all up for themselves, which they do have a reputation of doing. They play very European football at times, almost British football in Uruguay. They'll kick anyone who tries to run through them, but I quite like that about them. So I'm suggesting that it's going to be a final of Argentina and Uruguay, which is, if that's not tasty enough in itself, I'm going to say Uruguay to win it. I have to be controversial, I think, because everyone's bored of me just saying the same thing. Oh, Argentina will win it. They probably will, let's face it. You know, it's the most likely outcome. But I'm not going to say that in this video, so there, take that. I'm going to say Uruguay are going to win the tournament. And I have no reason to say this. When was the last time Uruguay lost then? If Colombia hasn't lost in 2 years. Apparently they lost to Ivory Coast. I'm probably not back in the right horse. Maybe I should say Colombia. Although I did look at who played in this match. Mind you, this is Cote d'Ivoire who won the African nations. Most of the big players, Nandes, Valverde, Ugarte, Viñas, well, they didn't play. A couple of Bentancur was on the bench, Diar Rascaeta was on the bench. The Liverpool forward wasn't there. Nicolas de la Cruz was playing Viña. Oliveira, Cáceres, Mele in goals. It's not their absolute strongest team. And then lost to. Interesting. And then the World Cup, then Portugal. So yeah, call me Mr. Controversial for once. I'm not sitting on the fence. I am saying that Uruguay is going to win the 50th edition. And yeah, call me crazy. I want you to interact with me in the comments. Do you think that is nuts? Am I just coco, as we say in Spanish? Am I crazy? Let me know who you think is going to win. Let me know if you think USA is going to win, or if they're going to get to a final. Do you think I'm nuts for saying Canada are going to get out of the group? Do you think I'm crazy for saying Mexico are not getting out of the group? Do you think I've underestimated Jamaica, or Paraguay, Costa Rica, Panama? Let me know. Drop me a comment, leave a like while you're there, and press subscribe if you are visiting this channel for the first time. Welcome. I'll be doing lots of videos during the tournament and discussing the results. Okay, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you again really soon. Thanks for recommending this video. I hope you enjoy it. Bye 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 bye.